Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Maine. One of my favorite breweries, to be perfectly honest with you. But something I haven't had from them. This is their Thank You 2024 India Pale Ale. Let's just get into story time. We'll go from there. It says, "Thank you is dedicated to all who enjoy beer, our beer, sorry. Without you, our commitment to nonprofit partners who champion animal protection, climate action, community service, equity, inclusion, land prevention, and outdoor recreation would not be possible. For 1%, our 1% for the Planet giving combines with guest donations, supports our of nonprofits to grow each year, exceeding $3 million since 2009. Now, whenever I do a Maine beer, we go through the whole rigmarole, drink it, taste it, have all that fun stuff, and then we get to my end cap portion of the show, which is me. I'll pour it. Proper glassware, by the way. Look at that. We get to the end portion of the show where I go over, value and availability. Off the shelf always, because that's how I get these beers. And they usually end up somewhere around the $6 to $8 range. And that's the portion of the show I have to go into. I don't care. I pick up what do we have here? 6.2% IPA. That, let's say for the sake of conversation, is $8. Times 8 times 4, what does that equal? 32 American dollars. Would I buy a 32 American dollar 4-pack 16-ounce can hazies? I would not. I don't think I ever have. Maybe back in the day, some weird thing, but that's not something I'll do. As a single price point, at that price point, doing what they do, with the things they support and the goodness they have with what they do, I have zero problems with the price point. So let's get that out of the way first. Now, label-wise, always love their labels. Very much just what Maine does. You can't not notice their labels from a mile away. Beer-wise, that's a bit dark. I'm not saying their beers can't skew that way, but we're definitely looking at something of the old school ilk. Could be West Coast, could be new school West Coast, could be a little bit of old school East Coast. Half pinky finger, soapy white head with this kind of what I would call closer to amber in color. Kind of body, soft haze to it, soft little snow globy carbonation. Yeah, somewhere between champagne and snow globe. So it definitely looks the part of darker IPA. It's almost clear IPA. I know it's not clear, but it's clear-esque. Let's get a nose. Okay. Yeah, that thing is vibrant. Crystal malt. All the crystal malt all belong to us. Maybe even a touch of Marisol or something like that. So we're definitely leaning into a heavily malt portion of the show here. But I don't think we're going really heavily West Coast on this. There's a little bit of resinous, a little bit of pininess kind of floating around there aromatically. But it really is a citrus-leaning beer in a sense of like a very old-school East Coast IPA. And not New England IPA, not heady, not even old-school, new school. We're talking about old-school East Coast IPA with a little bit of West Coast sensibility that leans into a sturdy and meaningful malt. Dare I say it? Backbone. Anyway, we're just going to dive in. Cheers, y'all. Okay. We have a date on this of April 24th. This is June 28th. So April, May to June. 2 months. Drink this beer fresh within 90 days of the stamped born on date. We're well within that. We're 60 days out. So I'm and where I get my Maine beers, I've never ever seen them like on a shelf. They're always cold, which is always a bonus. A lot of places that sell beers in the fridge. You can walk around the bottle shop, and a lot of times you'll find those beers on a shelf somewhere. So what they're doing is just putting a couple in the cooler, and they're just putting them out back in the cooler as they get pulled out of the cooler. The place that I buy these from, I've never seen a Maine beer on a shelf ever. So kudos to that. So I'm assuming it's been cold. So the reason why I'm setting up my conversation here is I think this beer is 100% exactly what they mean it to drink like, as it is right now. Sounds like I'm teeing up to hate it, but I'm not. This reminds me of English IPA, British IPA. It does have West Coast vibes. A little bit of piney resinous, definitely a fruit portion of the show. But when you get the fruit portion of the show, it's orange. And when you get to orange, it's orange marmalade-y. It's like that kind of jamminess to it, as opposed to like a fresh squeezed citrus. A little bit of grapefruit pithiness to it. A little bit of that West Coasty vibes. But really, it does have this kind of English-style IPA to it with a touch of an Americanized kind of twist. I dig it. I think it's fun. It's not going to otherworld me for. I'm not going to Mount Rushmore this on IPAs. It's not going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe this. This is not going to be on the best ofs at the end of the year. But it's a fun beer. A fun beer from a good brewery that does good things. I think that's a win. It's still a win in my book. Yeah, I've been trying a bit to drink this. I've had it for a couple weeks. Got a little bit of sniffles, so I've been just kind of putting a pause button on reviews. Decided to jump back into a couple tonight, and this is definitely one I was chomping at to dive into, and I like it. It's not, again, Mount Rushmore IPAs, no. Is it Mount Rushmore of even just Maine beers I've ever had? No. But a very, very tasty beer, and a cool twist, a cool take, a cool expression of what they're trying to do. Whether they try to go for that English portion of the show, I don't know. But that's how I read it. That's how I read the room. And I think it shows in a very, very fun way. Very tasty and fun way. So there you go. Like I said, citrus into almost a jammy portion of the show. Little touch of that West Coast. That Maris Otter / Crystal Malt in spades. Malt backbone, sturdy, with this really nice, meaningful hoppiness that doesn't get too harsh or too aggressive. Definitely has a bit of West and East, but really its core to me is like an English IPA with a bit of those Americanized East and West Coast vibes to it. Done and done. It's one of the better IPAs I've had as late. Fine. It's in the conversation. It's tasty. Not Mount Rushmore status, but again, value to availability. Again, I talked about it. I don't care. Off the shelf, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like breweries, good breweries doing good things and making good beers, you'll dig this. That's it. Done so. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Maine Brewing Company. Have you been to the brewery? I still haven't gone. I've been up that way. It's an extra hour or so north of Portland or whatever it may be. So I've just never got up there. So I got to get there eventually. Have you been there? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? What is your favorite Maine beer? All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of good beer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.